Hi, so today we're going to do a mini unit on the Renaissance, and I used this unit in particular for an AP skills workshop that I was running over the summer for students who had not been in an AP class before but wanted to gain some knowledge before taking an AP class as sophomores or juniors, history class in particular. So I used the Renaissance because I was able to find some pretty good primary source documents and a mini DBQ that they could begin practicing their writing skills and their analyzing skills for an AP course. So I spent some time covering what the Renaissance was, this idea of the rebirth of classical Greek and Roman cultures, trying to recreate the past using art and thought and culture and eventually science. And we focus on northern Italy, where the Renaissance started for a while, and I ask students, after showing them a map of northern Italy, or of Italy in general, why would it start in northern Italy? Hoping that they see that these are highly urban areas, that they were major cities on ports, and by being on ports, I want them to understand that those are the areas where new ideas are coming from other areas of the world. So we're looking at luxury goods coming from China that Europe hadn't had before. So we do a pretty good classroom discussion focusing on why it would be beginning in northern Italy. I then would show a few more pictures of some of the major northern cities in Italy, and then we move on to talking about the three masters or the marks of the beginning of the Renaissance, focusing mainly on art, so moving from those medieval pictures to your lifelike figures of the Renaissance. And we spend a lot of time on this. I would give them a picture of each. I would have a contrasting picture, one of the medieval ages and one of the Mona Lisa up at the same time, and ask them to work in partners and jot down some things that they see different between the two, and then we would have another classroom discussion. The second mark is literature, or Dante in particular. The Divine Comedy, the Inferno. We would talk about how faith is being mixed with politics at this time and how this creates our standard vision of hell. And really the important part of this is that it was written in Italian, and I would ask them why that's so important, hoping that they would recognize it's in the language of the vernacular, so that more and more people are being reached by Dante and his writings in the language of the people. We would finally talk about Petrarch and how he is the gap between the classical and the new, this father of humanism. We would talk about the idea of humanism and what that is. We would talk about the Renaissance values and how the individual is going to be at the forefront now and how people want to be remembered. And we will segue from the individual eventually on how this idea increases your exploration later on. We would talk about humanism a little bit more in depth and materialism and this idea that life could be enjoyed. God was not going to be offended or punish someone if they enjoyed their life. So this movement from this strict Catholicism, Christianity of the medieval ages into something a little bit more enjoyable and less of a vengeful God under the Renaissance. But how religion at the time is still very important. And we will talk about the popes and them employing Renaissance artists within the Vatican. We talk about Leonardo da Vinci and give some ideas of how he is the Renaissance man. Talk about how he was a master of all different trades. And after we do a lecture or discussion on the Renaissance and the beginning of the Renaissance, we look at some other of the artists. I move into a group or a partner work in a mini DBQ. So students will be given the question, how did the Renaissance change man's view of man? And they will be given 4 documents that they are going to have to analyze. And for my analysis, to get them to think, I use the acronym HAPPY. So they're looking for historical context, audience, purpose, and point of view of the author. And using those 4 keywords, so I made HAPPY just to make it memorable. HAP wasn't very much. So their first document is 2 pictures, and they have to do the analysis on this. And then their second one is a excerpt from an English play written in 1485. Their third document that they will be analyzing together is looking at drawings of Ptolemy and then of the Copernicus's idea of the universe. And then the final document is another scientific document, Advances in Science. So these are all what they will be analyzing in partners. From there, students will be working on creating creating a rough outline of their thesis statement and where these 4 documents would fit into a document-based question essay.